to now play with the 10, test them, keep the ball, make them chase you, see what holes appear. Just take your time. Don't need to win it in the next 3-4 minutes.
It'll be very interesting also to see what they do in terms of PSM's mentality. They clearly will be unhappy. They will have an issue with maybe the referee for the decision he's taken already, and opportunity perhaps to draw 1 or 2 more fouls.
The temperament, obviously, in Indonesia is quite a difficult one for teams sometimes. They just need to, if they can, put their foot on the ball, pass it around, get comfortable with this new shape, with this 10 men on pitch, and see if they can start to launch attacks themselves.
Take a little look at the number 4 there, Masanami Omura, who can play in defence, but you'll see him more and more now pushing forward from that midfield position. Twice there he's got up in support of his attackers when you'd expect him to be perhaps a holding midfielder. They really are flooding players forward when they get the opportunity here, and but for a poor touch there, they still have an opportunity. There's the overlap on. They're really not getting near anybody here. PSM with a chance to put a tackle in as Kaya FC are coming forward really almost undefended.
Well, Manara had the ball there, probably 10 yards inside the half, and all PSM players back behind the ball. He's quite comfortably, if they start letting him get on the ball, he's going to start pulling strings and causing issues. We've got to find a way of still being able to maintain a little bit of pressure on the defensive midfielders. It's going to be difficult with 10.
Wazia now, as they again look to build something, and again they find themselves shut down. It's been a frustrating first quarter of an hour for Boyan Horak's side here.
I'm sure there'll be a few choice words there with his assistants.
Just struggling really by the looks of things here for someone to put the foot on the ball and just dictate the tempo and calm things down, and that's what the body language is telling you straight away there.
I think if anyone, we'll see Omura start to really play a big part of this game. He'll be the one that Kaya go through. They'll be playing into his feet quite often and just getting him to pick holes in that PSM defence.
Well, nothing's really working out for them there. That was the skipper, Ferdinand Sinaga, surrendering it. Poor chest control there, and again it comes back at them. This time it's a long-range effort. Saw the keeper off his line. Why not?
That's good awareness. He's got his head up. Nothing else. It shows he's looking and seeing what's on. Just a little tester to the goalkeeper. Stay on your line.
The goalkeeper is one of the players who's come into this one. Hilman Shah is the player who hasn't played any role so far in the AFC Cup campaign for them. 22-year-old. These are imposing enough figures. Stands 1.83 m. But look at this. Look at these passes. They're
a little bit rattled.
They're struggling, aren't they, for composure?
PSM a little bit rattled here. This is where Kaya can really capitalise on that by keeping the ball. Just keep the ball and make them chase you. You give them the ball back, they feel like they've got control, they're gaining something back. Don't give them the ball, keep it, even if it's across the back line. Get chasing you around.
Might just have got away with the throw in there, but as it is, Kaya, who do seem to be living in the opposition half right now. The number of bodies they've got across the halfway line. What they do need now is a little bit more incisiveness. For a moment there, they started working the flanks, in particular Giganto down the left. Need to perhaps work on those overloads. Now, as a coach yourself, if you have found yourself go a man up so early in a game, at what point do you change things? At what point do you look to try and work that advantage?
Well, you certainly wouldn't do it straight away. There's a danger there. What I would, like I was saying earlier in commentary, keep the ball and just start having a little look, evaluate the situation. I try and get players to keep looking at what the opposition are doing all the time. Yeah. As a coach, you don't have time to stop the game and explain things. They've got to do it themselves, and if they can't see it, just take the time, see where they're stretched, see where they're arguing. There's the weak point.
Well, as it is, look at this. They're struggling really to get out of their half at the moment, PSM, and that's one way of doing it. Long ball out to the right flank, possession surrendered, and but for that poor piece of play there from Kaya, they'd have had the ball back, and they really are imposing themselves here on the opposition.
And that's what you'd like to see. Wazzy up there just saying, hey, let's just calm down, come on, we're in the attacking half now, let's see what we can do, can we keep the ball, pass it around a little bit. Yeah.
Not a whole lot of options for him in the centre of the park, and that's where they seem to be most obviously lacking.
I think Kaya are doing a good job of keeping it very narrow. They've not given them any options to play forward. They can't get it into Sanaga or into Osis's feet.
We've hardly heard the name Osis, have we really, so far in this one?
No, quite easily winning the ball back at the minute. PSM okay with 10 men, but not really asking any questions and giving the ball up like that. And that's, with 10 men, it's going to make for a very, very long game.
Yeah, that was sloppy from Jakub Sayuri, who knows better. He's one of their brighter players. But it does seem to have really affected all of them. And once again, it's Kaya comfortably passing it around. There's the man you flagged up, Masanari Omura, who's going to be on the ball more and more, you feel?
Yeah, I think he's just going to sit just in behind the PSM striker, but in front of that midfield, just occupy that space and just allow balls to come into him. Just like this.
Always Sato,
just playing it back, just calming it down, keeping the ball, keeping possession.
And they're always finding a man over. It's Aguilez in this case. No one anywhere near him. And between the two of them, they're always freeing somebody up. Now it goes in to a dangerous area. And that's dealt with well enough in the end by Leo Guntara.
It's a better bit of play by Kaya. Just keeping possession, like we say, organised, just slowing things down. Then all of a sudden, a ball in behind that finds a little bit of space. Yeah, that's clever play.
Looking for a little bit of movement here. Not really getting a great deal. And now they go. So Horikoshi, who is really one of those cases of perpetual motion, as you so often get from the Japanese professionals. A real battle for the ball there, and in the end it's given away. It came from a little bit of sloppiness from Mitchell to start off with, and in the end, leading by example there was Osas, who doesn't mind a bit of physical contact.
He's a strong boy, Osas. He may not be the most technical footballer in the world, and he'll openly admit that himself, but work rate, effort, chasing things down, and just being difficult to play against, he's very good.
Ahmad Agung there, and this back four has seen an awful lot of the ball early on. A lot of passing it sideways, not an awful lot of progressive football from PSM so far, other than those attempted balls. Nothing wrong with it if it works. Into Osas there, who wins this one, holds his man off, out to the left-hand side. This is better. Early ball in. And that's going to have to go safe as it hits a chance. Oh, and it was the skipper there who feel he could have done better. The second shot was far away, dipping too late as it came in from Jakub Sayuri. Comfortably their best moment in the game. Could he have done better here? Maybe not that one. The earlier chance was the one, I think, that was probably worth looking at.
Yeah, you would back Sinaga to put that one away. And you have the feeling that if PSM are going to get anything out of this game, they can't spurn chances like that. That was a good chance. It was maybe a look at goal, but got to be taking chances like that with only 10 men on the pitch.
And it was the first move they've really put together. It was the long ball diagonally knocked into Osas. Out it went wide. Good early cross, and that's how you're going to catch Kaya.
Yeah, a little bit slow to stop the cross there, and like maybe not able to get out to him too quickly.
Waiting for the flag and the whistle, which duly come along there. As the captain had strayed well offside. But Bedic and company will know that there will be spaces for them to exploit. There will be gaps here. If you are just joining us here, a dramatic opening to this one. Remarkably, really, the PSM defender Dedi Guz Mawan sent off for consecutive yellow card offences. There could only have been a minute between them, one would imagine. Saw red some 10 minutes or so, just under 10 minutes into the game, and an incredibly poor start really for Psm Makasar, who have got a lot of work to do now against a side that has come from Iloilo and impressed us so far in this game in Jakarta.
Yeah, very much an uphill task for PSM now. It's going to be a long game, especially for those strikers. Sinaga and Osas just chasing down, always outnumbered, trying to get something on the ball, chasing lost causes. It's going to be a long road back.
This is a little bit better from PSM. They're beginning to see some of the ball, although unable to do anything with it there, Osas, and then they're able to get away with a mishit pass, and they've got players forward here. This is nice. Osas, he can go all the way here. Through he goes, finishes, as you'd expect. And against the run of play, the home side take the lead. Straight through the middle they go, and the opening goal comes their way from the appropriately named Osas. Marvellous.
Well, marvellous finish from Osas there. He'll thank me for saying that as well. But it was a nice bit of play, a nice cutting ball straight through the lines, finding that little bit of space in behind, and a really solid. He knew he had to finish that one. It was an important finish.
Nicely done. The keeper maybe made his mind up for him there, but really bearing down on goal. There was only ever going to be one outcome there, and that's two sharpish-looking attacks in the space of a couple of minutes, and suddenly they've come to life.
It's actually the first time PSM have been able to play through the middle of the pitch. We said Kaya were doing a really good job of playing narrow and blocking everything. The first time they've managed to play through the lines, really cut Kaya in half.
That is not a scoreline that really looked all that likely for much of the first 20 minutes of this match. But as it is, it's PSM who have taken the lead, and who knows, maybe even just wrested back the advantage, because it's been a good few minutes for them, I think, broadly speaking. I just wondered, Simon, about that earlier ball in that play. It did look as if it was either a fortuitous or an incredibly good pass from a deep position that just really bisected the whole of that defence.
Well, listen, as a coach, I will always give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, I think by how Kaya have set up to try and, stop the balls in the middle of the pitch, the fact that he's able to look up, see a bit of gap, and ping a ball through there. It wasn't in the air, it was laced through the middle, and ended up, finishing the goal. A really nice little pass. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he meant it.
Credit to them. And it absolutely, as you say, sliced through the heart of that Kaya team, which allowed Osas a run in that I'm sure he could barely believe he had. But once he composed and gathered himself, it was just the kind of finish you'd expect from him.
Yeah, he can. You put him in the opportunity, or put in an opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net, he'll do that for you. And I'm sure that will give him a nice confidence boost. And like earlier we were talking about, he's going to have to chase a lot of dead balls and try and put pressure on his own, which is never a nice thing for a striker. That will just give him the confidence to go and do it now.
So the 10-man team won, the 11-man team nil. And that in itself raises one or two interesting questions in the minds of a coach, I would imagine, in terms of how you approach things from here on in. Far too early to start sitting on a lead. That's a long-range effort, and it was just deflected, but to no great harm there, through to Hilman Shah.
Well, most of the time when you go one player down, you get one of two reactions. You get a negative reaction, oh God, the world's against us, and the other team just keeps the ball the whole time. Sometimes you get a positive reaction. Sometimes, hey, everything's against us, come on boys, we're going to have to do it. And this is what we've seen from PSM, they've dug in.
Well, here's Osas again. He's going to do it on his own, and he's really seemingly able to take on this defence at will. Kaya being subjected to something of an examination, and they're not really looking too good. Haziat's ball there to the far post. That'll be put behind eventually, will it? Or kept in play. There we are again. There's a physicality that I think you pointed out earlier on about the league in general and about this PSM side. It's just giving them the edge in certain duels here, and we saw that, I think, every time Osas has been involved. No one's living with him right now.
No, there's definitely, and it's interesting when you start talking about football around the world, and when you play in the AFC Cup competition, it's just such a big place, and you see a lot of Middle Eastern referees coming in, you see a lot of cards, you see sendings off, and Indonesian teams they've always struggled with discipline issues on the pitch, and not because of anything other than tackles.
Jakob Sayuri, it is, just bends that one in, but comfortably dealt with at the near post. He might have another opportunity. No, it runs out of play, and something of an opportunity squandered there. He's a very talented lad, this one is, Jakob Sayuri. Has an eye for a goal. Scored a beauty with his left foot against Shan United in the previous match day in this AFC Cup Group H.
Yeah, PSM lost a couple of players in the transfer window at the beginning of the season, and he's one of the players that really has started to shine given the opportunity.
Here he is, though. Horikoshi has put a lovely little ball into the far post. Nicely done. Superb individual skills. He just dummied his man, committed his man, made a good run down the left-hand side, and then puts a ball in that was always going to cause trouble for a defender. Safety first, as it turned out, and as a result of that, off trots Jovan Bilic to take a corner for his side, who want to get back into this one. They'll still be frustrated that they're somehow trailing.
Yeah, that cross in the box there, I would always tell wide players, it doesn't matter what you do to get into the position, but the last thing you do, make it good. You'll only ever be judged by the last thing you do.
Well, that's the away swinger once again, and that's met by Uesato. Wasn't a great deal on the header. Still needed clearing, but there's another chance here. That's a decent looking ball, and well done, goalkeeper. That's commanding stuff from Hilman Shah, who came and got it. And he sees one of his players go down, and it was Ahmed Agung who just took a little knock in that scramble. But, there were going to be elbows and all sorts flying in there.
Well, he's a young goalkeeper, and this will give his confidence. I mean, he's gone through 2 or 3 players. If that defender wants to get in his way, that's what's going to happen. Fair play to the goalkeeper. You want that from a goalie, especially a young guy. You want him coming out, and if there's traffic, he's got to go through it, but very, very clean. We're having a little chat and a laugh about it now. Don't do that again.
22-year-old did what he needed to do there, and as a result, just a little flurry there, in an attacking sense, from Kaya, has been calmed down by the side that will look to just make the most of this position they find themselves in. Again, long, and this has been a feature of what they've done in the first half. They don't mind knocking it long. They know they've got players up there, Sass and Sinaga, who will cause trouble.
Well, they can afford to do it now. They've got the luxury of that first goal. They can afford to just play a little bit longer and sit maybe possibly a bit deeper and just not give anything away. Certainly don't want to open up the middle of the pitch where they're exposed with that, lacking that man.
And there he is, captain on the ball right now, just swings one out to the right. Fascinating contrast tactically here. We're seeing this direct approach from PSM. Kaya having plenty of bodies left over in the middle of the park, looking to be a bit more intricate, a little shorter passing game. What they're lacking really is something incisive up at the top end of the pitch.
Just lacking that penetration really, aren't they? They're not getting into attacking areas that are causing PSM problems. We've seen one or two maybe good deliveries, but other than that it's been fairly easy for PSM to deal with.
Again, it breaks down there, a little frustrating there. Giganto's really just faded a little bit from the game, struggling to get involved as much as he was early on. Now down the left-hand side for PSM, it's a foot race, and it's one that, well, that's an unfortunate slip there, and half a chance, blocked by Mitchell. And again, possession surrendered. So now it's the away team that's struggling a little bit for composure, struggling to put some kind of a pattern of play together, string some passes together. I think the psychological impact of the goal probably has something to do with that.
Yeah, I think so. I think we started seeing Kaya passing before. They were starting a little bit higher at the pitch. They were harrying, they were making it difficult. PSM lose a man, it's almost like they get a little kick up the backside, a little shout from the coach, hey, what's going on here? They've got to go and dig it out, and now they're starting to do it. They're working harder, and they're probably outworking Kaya.
And again, we go long all the way from the keeper. Mitchell comfortably deals with that one. Now, is there an end product this time around for Kaya? Well, no, because not on the same wavelength there, and things not quite working as they did early on. Bedic there expecting to see his fullback overlapping, didn't do so, and this is far, far more now to the liking of that PSM bench, who did look troubled early on in the piece.
Already losing players, and then losing a player after 10 minutes. I mean, that's one game plan gone through sickness, and then another game plan gone through a red card. He's on his third game plan now. This one seems to be doing okay.
This one's all right.
This one's working.
We're just through the half-hour mark here at the Madia Stadium on the grounds of the famous Bung Karno in Jakarta, which is where they'll be playing their AFC Cup home matches. Long way from home in South Sulawesi, which is why you haven't got a great deal of support here for the Psm Makasar side. But as it is, they're getting by just fine.
They're doing well. Indonesian football without supporters is a very strange thing. They're known for their fans, so they could fill that stadium 2-3 times over if that was in Makassar, which it's such a shame, really, and it will make it difficult in the latter stages. Not maybe this is a little bit, nip and tuck it, but when you're up against some of the Middle Eastern teams, if you can make it to those zone finals and onwards,
then you need that advantage. You need everything you can. Well, unfortunately, as we all know, due to a global situation, football in front of non-fans is something many of us are having to get used to, and it's something that the professionals are having to deal with as well. But as it is, this has been a game that's seen a fascinating contrast in styles. A physical approach from the home side, more sporadic early on. Now they have a bit of defending to do, but ball into the area leads to an unintentional handball. A little bit frustrating really there for Giganto, as the last 20 or so minutes of this game have been.
It's been a little bit obvious from Kaya, to be honest. I mean, there's a delivery just put in the box. They've got the extra man, yet they're still picking out the one guy on the pitch who we know the ball's going to go to. And PSM just pull their naturalised player back, their foreign player, 2 against 1, they win the ball back. It's a bit straightforward from Kaya.
So tell me this, is Oliver Collina their coach? Is he now already getting his head around, what do I do in the second half to exploit this? Do I get that guy out wide? Do I put an extra body in somewhere? This must be crossing his mind already.
I would suspect he will already be looking at his bench and thinking, how can I change the game here? Because PSM seem to have this in their back pocket in terms of tactically how they're set up. They kind of know what Kaya are doing here. I don't think Kaya are asking too many questions of them. I'm sure he'll be looking at his bench and thinking, okay, how can I mix things up?
That was a nice piece of play there by Osas once again. He was let down a little bit there, that his pass didn't quite get anticipated, but he draws in 2-3 players every time he gets near the ball, and he's creating pockets of space for this PSM side.
He is a handful. His physicality makes him a real handful. Players just bounce off him.
And we do need to remind you, this is a PSM side missing many of its regulars, not least its captain, Plumouts, through a sickness. The same sickness has laid the foreign striker, Giancarlo, low as well, and they're getting by just fine without. But here's Bedic, the captain of Kaya, who dwelt a little long on the ball, but goes and gets it back, as you'd expect. Giganto doesn't keep the ball. Is that a handball? No, says the referee. On he goes. Has he got a shot in him? Well, he's just, this time, surrounded by a couple of maroon-shirted PSM players, and there's been a marked change in their defensive attitude. Standing off early on, but they're making the tackles count. They're getting the ball to this man an awful lot more. More often than not, Osas makes the right decision.
He's doing a good job up there. You can see in transition there, PSM not quite able to keep up with how far he is up the pitch, so he had to hold on to it that little bit longer just to wait for the cavalry to arrive, but doing a good job as a lead striker, a man down.
And again, there you go, the diagonal ball asking questions of the defence. That's nicely done. Sato's dropped deep. He's got a man to his right-hand side if he can pick him out. Orikoshi it is. Orikoshi gets a shot away. Back comes though. This is a good little spell there for Kaya. Folonko's ball in. It's allowed to bounce in the area. On the edge of the box now. This is an opportunity, angle as it was. Again looking for something penetrative. And that was a little risky at the back there from PSM. Oh, they're asking for a foul there, nothing doing. Certainly no arm raised, no elbow.
A little bit lightweight there for me. I think just being a little bit clever, slowing things down.
Let's see who it went down. Was it Wazia who went down with that one? Let's have a little look. But that's a good sign, as you say, professionally. Waziad is indeed. It's gone down.
Risky
Patama's gone down at a time when, you know, Kaya was stringing a couple of passes together, threatening a little bit.
Yeah, nothing wrong with him other than a damp fringe now. He'll be fine, I'm sure. He'll be fine. But you know, this is the sort of smart play you need. This is not about winning points for nice attacking play. This is about 3 points in a big competition. So at the end of the day, slowing the game down. Hey, Kaya, just taking the buzz out of Kaya.
Looking to take this lead through to half-time, aren't they?
Absolutely.
At the very least, PSM. And to that end, you're absolutely right. It's just a couple of moments there where they looked a little bit wobbly once again. A couple of balls from Kaya into the box that caused them trouble. And they're supposed to be returning this. And that's what Ostas does. To a sprinkling of applause. Fair play is applauded. See, there is room for nicety in the game, Simon, after all.
3 men and the dog like that one.
Angeles on the ball. They need to make something happen before the half, or they'll go in a frustrated side, will Kaya FC. Done a lot right in this half, certainly early on in the game. But now Mitchell, they'll stand off him and allow him to play a ball, and maybe that's why. They've got everybody behind the ball here, haven't they, PSM? They know what they're doing.
Lacking a little bit of creativity for me. They're not finding enough. They're not moving the ball quickly enough. You haven't got someone who's nipping around a corner and getting the ball back. Distance like that, for example.
A little bit lightweight, isn't it, as well? A little bit lightweight when it goes into the strikers. No great focal point, and that's markedly in contrast to what we're seeing from PSM. Well, he didn't know where the ball was, but how about that then? Bit of skill from Hussein El-Dor there. He'll have enjoyed that one, but so much the fact that possession has now been surrendered, and he's got a lot of ground to make up. Back he comes. Oh, and that could be another card. That was a launching challenge then on Hoshikori.
Oh, he's done well there. He's done well just to draw him in for a little challenge. That's a desperate lunge. He doesn't need to do that. He's not going anywhere. They've got numbers over.
Leo Guntara, it was. He got away with that one?
I think no yellow card shown there.
Well, that again takes you back to the sending off, doesn't it? Because that was a far worse challenge than the yellow for which Dedi saw a second yellow and therefore a red very, very early on in this game. Can they take some kind of an advantage there? It's Takumi Osato standing over this one with that cogent left foot of his. The big men are in there, the biggest of those men. Of course, Carlisle Mitchell will occupy a central role in this, if anything is to come from it.
We said very early about PSM missing 2 or 3 of their big players, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to put it on the same big guy's head every time. It becomes a bit predictable.
The referee's words there, holding will be a penalty, he says, so they've been warned. Sato curls it in, nice ball, and that's very well defended, had to be, as Hussein Eldor got his head on that one.
Mitchell finding a bit of space there. PSM a little bit, just letting him drift off at the back post. Very good defensive header.
Yeah, from the Lebanese defender, really is a stalwart of this team. This, you feel, is a very crucial time now for Kaya. As Bedic stands over another corner, is he going to curl this one in and just examine that penalty spot once again? It's floated rather to the far post, stays in play, nicely done. Mitchell went for the header, and that's the shot that comes in, and these are positive times for Kaya, but they need now to regroup. And presumably the big men stay up once more if they can fashion another chance here. Sato, this time with the right foot, not enough on that cross. And they'll clear for PSM as far as they can, but it comes back again.
Mitchell happy to stay in the box here. You don't see the centre-back trying to get back.
And here comes Sato once more. Once again, he chips one in with the right foot. Mitchell never going to score from there, out by the penalty spot. But the pressure begins to build. It continues to mount. And as that one goes behind there from Leo Guntara, they know that they need to see this through somehow, PSM, and this is the time for Kaya FC to draw level if they possibly can. Set pieces have kind of given a little bit of optimism, a few grounds, but no clear-cut chances as yet.
You'd like to see something. You'd like to see something a little bit more creative than just, everybody running around and we stick it on Mitchell's head. You'd like to see, they've got the extra man. Can they draw a couple of PSM players out and give Mitchell a bit more space before it goes in?
That one was clipped a little bit shorter. They'll have another chance here if Bedic can keep this one in, which he does. And now on the left foot. Well, that's a good-looking ball in, but the keeper commands, and he's done well a couple of times now. Nothing wrong with that from Hilman Shah.
Answered a couple of questions. Kaya have put some balls in there, and as a young goalkeeper, done very well coming out claiming 2 good takes now.
So, a concerted spell of pressure there for Kaya leads to nothing. And now it might be advisable for PSM to just clear their lines here, spend a bit of time in the opposition half if possible, but that's easier said than done. That was sloppy from PSM then, and once again Kaya back with some possession. Can they turn this into something meaningful? Sato, who's seeing a lot of the ball at the moment. Angeles switching the ball a little bit better now, moving it around. It's back with Mitchell, and time's just beginning to tick away towards the half. 5 minutes or so remain. Casambre has a little look up now. PSM shape so far good, and they'll deal with that, but not particularly well in terms of the clearance straight up in the air. And they need to be careful here. Look at that, everybody now. It's like a training exercise apart from a goalkeeper in that PSM half. They know what they want to do, and that is to just get to the break.
Yeah, it looks like an attack versus defence training pitch. Half a pitch.
But does attack get through? That's the question. That's nicely defended once more. Angeles picks up the scraps though. Is he going to get across it? Yes, he does. That's a commanding header away, but only though. As far as here's half a chance, a shooting opportunity. But as the tackle came flying in, that flew wildly off the left foot of Takumi Sato.
He's got the ability to do that. He's a very good player. We can see that he's not getting enough of the ball, so he's drifting deeper to try and get himself involved. He knows he's a vital part of the Kaya cog here, but yeah, not slicing it wide like that. He's a better player than that.
Yeah, one of the problems they seem to have here, Simon, is that in drifting deep and looking to join up, they're losing something at the top end of the pitch, aren't they? They're losing a focal point. There's not really a cutting edge for all of that fairly tidy play that we see final third of the pitch, nothing really is profited. Can you remember many clear-cut chances?
No, I don't remember the goalkeeper actually making a save. He's taken 2 good crosses, but not actually made a save yet.
That was a hefty challenge. That was another hefty challenge. And you'd say probably an unnecessary one there. Leo Guntara it was, who's cut a little bit of a frustrated figure for the last few minutes.
He's got to be careful now. He knows he's done wrong because he's whacking himself on the head there. He knows he's made a bit of a mistake. That's a very late challenge. And that comes straight after that one we saw earlier where he ordered the booking.
And that could have been a red now. So he could have been their second player sent off. They've got to be careful with the discipline. Obviously, coming towards the end of a strength-sapping half, and that's when sometimes the mind frays. But we are seeing an injury change here, obviously, here as Marwan Angeles cannot continue. And with just 2 minutes to go, we're seeing a little fella come on that I think you can tell me something about in a moment. Let's get this free kick taken first. Arnel Amito, the player who's arrived on the scene, the number 17 diminutive figure. I think he's going to be rushing into